All right, everybody. How you doing out there on this beautiful Friday? Thanks for tuning in with us. This is Just James checking in with boss man Mr. Franco Vescovi for this week's Fridays with Franco.
Yes.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Always loving Fridays. Today we have a true legend and a pioneer in the tattoo industry that has changed the course of conventions with his vision, Mr. Miki Vialetto. So stay tuned. We're going to give him a call here pretty soon and check in with him. And this is a good chance to really check into the temperature of the tattoo culture, the tattoo scene, primarily the tattoo conventions. Everybody's wondering what's going on with tattoo conventions, and especially in Europe. We had the closure of the world famous London Tattoo Convention, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to share some insights and perspectives from Miki on the tattoo culture then and now, like where was it? And he's so many things, but one of the things he's done throughout the years, he's collected tattoos from some of the best tattoo artists in the world, the most respected tattoo artists, and he's been able to gain a lot of perspective on just the industry as a whole. So I'm more excited to check in with him and see what he's up to and see what's going on with the culture of tattoo conventions. So a little intro video on Miki and some of the convention culture. Welcome, Miki Vialetto, all the way live from Milan. How are you?
Thank you very much, Franco. It's such a great pleasure to be with you guys.
Likewise. I've been really looking forward to this interview, Miki, because there's just so many changes and there's so many things that have been going on in the industry since COVID, as we know. And let's just jump right into it. I know that this hour is going to go by very fast, and I believe that for all the people tuning in, get ready for a fascinating conversation with some deep insight. For all you young tattooers out there that are tuning in, thank you for allowing yourselves to soak up some of the tattoo culture that you're about to soak up here. We are talking to a legend here, Miki Vialetto. Miki, let's jump right into it. The future of tattoo conventions. What's going on in Europe? We all know what happened with COVID and the closures of so many conventions. Where are we at now? What do you see the future of conventions?
Actually, we still don't know, to be honest. We still don't know because for sure, a small convention, they will have big chances to do it again. But I don't know if in America they talking yet as they talk here. Here they say that probably 2 doses of vaccine will be not enough. Because with all the variant and everything, probably we will have to do a third vaccine through the years. And every year we should face different variation of the virus and everything. So right now, they will, I just know the law in Italy, they're willing to open up exhibition, close exhibition, but there is a big problem. Like every people inside should be far, at least over a meter from each other. That means I think around 4 feet from every visitor. That means that in a hall that usually, I don't know, there could be something like 10,000 people. I'm thinking about London, for example, there could be maybe 3,000 at a time.
Yeah.
So that means that for small convention or convention that don't have to plan such a big investment, they can try to thinking about it to do it again. In fact, I already see a lot of advertising of different convention that they will start again. Big convention are a little bit more in difficulties because nobody know yet if they can organize a convention as used to be.
Yeah. And speaking of conventions that used to be, among so many things, Miki, and we've had a chance to cultivate a friendship over the years, and One of my most memorable experiences in the tattoo industry was, going on vacation over at Mako's house and being able to swim and hang out with you and just talk about so many things. And so this tattoo life has been a beautiful life, right? And you've had a chance to live a beautiful life and have many deep friendships with so many tattoo artists around the world. And to me and to everyone, you're the king of tattoo conventions, right? And
Thank you.
And we really, I wanted to talk a little bit about the London Tattoo Convention, a little bit about what it meant to you, and rest in peace to Marcus Berriman, your business partner as well. And I think a lot of people are confused on why it's no longer here. So let's speak a little bit about the London Tattoo Convention.
Sure. Okay, my issue, as I said, I got a very beautiful tattoo life,
Yeah.
And I had the luck when I started my business that I was under the wings of Felix Löw, that he teach me almost everything I know. And he always told me that for him there was a tattoo god. Like, you good with him, he will be good with you.
Yeah.
And I always follow this. That means never only take, but give it back. And
Yes.
I think the way where I arrive is because I always put my heart before everything else in what I was doing.
Yeah.
But long story short, for all my life, I never been a tattooer because I was not able to draw, but I always loved so much tattooing that I always tried to find out a way where I could help to develop the tattoo industry. This is why I think if somebody asks me what I do in my life, I say I'm a tattoo promoter. That means I started with a magazine almost 30 years ago. Then I decided to start a tattoo convention because it was my way to show in 3 days where the art of tattooing, what level has reached.
Yeah.
This is why I always try to make London a little bit special, not only having 400 tattooers or something like this, but I spent so much energy in everything that was surrounded, like the art exhibition, like photo exhibition. I think you remember when Tattoo Nation came out,
Yes.
we built up
That
a
was
fucking
great.
moving theater inside
Yes.
the tattoo convention. I mean, I always wanted to give the chance to every visitor that was coming inside, walking around the convention, to get the exactly idea what level tattooing has reached just in 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't know nothing about tattooing, you were enter London, stay 3 days in London.
You learn it all.
Yes.
And what's interesting about you, Mickey, is you have a big heart. I think you're a beautiful person, and you had a vision. You still have this vision, but even back when you started the London Tattoo Conventions, one of the first things I noticed about you as a person is you had a deep love for the spirit of tattooing. You had a deep love of not only tattooing, but you wanted to share the deepest parts of tattooing with the world, and I commend you personally for that. What year did you start the London Tattoo Convention? What year was that?
17 years ago, so that means in 2004.
2004. Now,
That was the first edition.
I've been tattooing now, Mickey, for almost 28 years. There was a time in my tattoo history, maybe 17 years ago, that I just couldn't wait to be able to be invited to the London Tattoo Convention. And I always looked at it the same way, a little bit like the Ink Slingers Ball, where not anyone can come, right? You had to be invited. It was a very special show. And in fact, I think it goes without saying that the London Tattoo Convention, for me and a lot of people, was the best tattoo convention in the world, something we looked forward to every year. And I personally left a piece of my heart at the London Tattoo Convention that I don't think I'll ever get back, and I'm okay with that. But let's talk a little bit about the criteria of choosing an artist, because I remember when I got invited, I felt like, okay, I kind of made it. I feel like as an artist, I've been recognized on a level where I'm invited to the London Tattoo Convention. Tell us about the criteria and why.
Basically, my criteria, as I said before, I wanted to represent the best I could in tattooing. I was spending the most difficult of my job. It was not just invited people. but doing a huge research on all the tattoo artists that I could find all around the world, and invited the one that I thinking they were most representative for their style. Basically, I had few different criteria. The first criteria was to invite the people that did the road for us. What I'm saying, I'm talking about the different tattoo legends.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I always invited people like George Bone, Lalardi, or Mark Mahoney, so many different people that maybe now young guy are, let's say, could be much better than them.
Yeah.
But I didn't care because they give so much to tattooing that invited them was a sign of respect, first of all, and then they could share so much knowledge to everybody else.
Yeah.
So the first thing I was trying to invite were the people that did something very important for our tattoo world.
Yeah.
So I was not really into the quality of their work, so to speak, because the character and what they did was more important for me.
Yeah.
Then I was invited the tattoo legend that during the 90s and 2000 did and still doing one of the best tattooing in the world, like Philippe Le, like Tenten, or like Shige, or Yoshi, all the people that not just doing a good thing, but invented a style.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the worst part, not the worst, the most difficult part, it was to find people that nobody knew, but they were doing something totally special. Like nowadays, everybody know Gakin and Nisako, for example.
Yeah.
But before I invited in London, nobody knew who they were.
Yeah. Yep.
Same thing as I remember I was still doing Milan, always been my thing. The first time I invited Shige in a convention when I was organizing Milan, nobody knew who he was, Shige.
Yeah.
I just had the chance. I was talking to Philip, and he showed me some photo of this young Japanese artist that went to Lausanne to get basically a bodysuit, the front, the back, and everything. And he showed me the work, and I found out, wow, this is amazing. So I wanted to show him to the majority of people. So my difficult part, it was to represent every single style, but trying not somebody that was doing good with style, somebody that invented that style.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what's cool about what you're saying, Miki, is because taking it back to 17 years ago, there was no social media, there was no Instagram. So in a lot of ways, when you introduced these artists to the scene, like Shige, there was almost no other way to introduce them on a worldwide level, because the London Tattoo Convention obviously was a worldwide show. There would be people that would come from all around the world. So I think it's important to notate that back in those days when you would bring someone to the convention to introduce to the world, that was the place to do it. Because all the tattoo artists, all the great tattoo artists from all around the world would come. Of course, nowadays it's a lot easier, because you can get famous online. And we're going to talk a little bit about the lack of tattoo culture, and let's move into that whole conversation.
But also, if I can say, Franco, one of my lack is that I was a publisher of an international tattoo magazine. So actually, there was no internet, so it was difficult to find them on social media. But a lot of them, they will send me still photographs for the magazine. So this is why I could scout, let's say, so many talents.
And it's an art to be able to scout, like to be able to see an artist that created his own style, and to really have the desire to put that on a worldwide platform. Because again, and I'm glad you brought that up. Besides the tattoo conventions, and again before social media, you had the magazines, and you were very picky on who you would interview. And in a way, Miki, you have built a lot of the careers of some of these well-known artists that are around today. And what I mean by built their careers is you gave them their first platform on a worldwide level. There was many times that I would be introduced through reading one of your magazines about an artist in Spain or an artist in Japan, and I would fall in love with his work. And now we fast forward to today, 2021. It's that person's these people are well-known tattoo artists. So again, I commend you for that. That was these are things that could never be repeated again, right? We're in a whole new world, right? We're in a whole new world where everyone can get a chance to be a famous tattoo artist, not the way we grew up. Right. And again, I love what you said about there's a tattoo god and there's a tattoo spirit, because I'm a firm believer that tattooing is different than clothing or anything else. It's a living, breathing spirit. And I tell people, I'm half Italian, and there's this saying where most Italians think they're Catholic just because they're Italian, right? But it's like they may not go to church and they may not pray. I look at tattooing in the same way. People can't just say they're a tattoo artist. There's some that are true disciples to the craft. There's some that pay close attention to the spirit of tattooing. And I compare that to the religion, because you can't just say, I'm a tattoo artist. There's some people that are tattoo artists, and then there's other ones that really are tattoo artists, and they've tapped into the deepest level of that spirit. And that kind of leads me to this next topic. I feel that there's less and less people that take this that serious, and therefore there's been a lack of tattoo culture. What are your thoughts on that nowadays?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. Like, tattooing never been so popular like today, but the level of culture it never been so low.
Yeah.
Through all these years, because unfortunately, before there were, I'm not just talking about myself, but everybody that was trying to do a tattoo magazine or anything, it was doing because it was loving tattooing.
Yeah.
And especially in the beginning, all of us, we had a lot of integrity.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were trying. Somebody was doing a better job, somebody not so good job, but we were trying to push, not really the fashion tattooer or the one that were starting to be kind of hype and everything, but who was really deserved to be in a magazine. Right now, it seems that, first of all, tattooing is living the biggest lie that he ever had.
Well
because
said.
If you look about, now the majority of people look through internet on social media, and most of the time, what you find on social media is not the truth. It cannot be like this. Or they don't realize that maybe, yes, it is like this now, but something like this couldn't stay more than a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was one amazing thing when I did the book with Philip Le. I was amazed, because Philip always told me, like, to me, a tattoo, you can start to judge a tattoo after 5 years that is done.
Yeah.
So even for all the photo that he got so many beautiful photos of back piece that he just finished and everything. But if he had the chance to call back the client, even if the tattoo was old, 5 or 6 years old, he preferred to call back the client, take a photo of a tattoo that was 5 years old, and publish that.
I love that.
Sometimes when I see on Instagram that people say fresh and healed is just like 2 weeks, I'm like,
yeah.
It's just a joke for people that don't understand almost nothing about tattooing.
It's disrespectful to the tattoo spirit, and I always think about that. I call it the instant lie or the 5-year truth. It's the instant lie of Instagram or the 5-year truth. And what I've seen, as not just a tattooer, Miki, but also one that's making tattoo supplies, I'm seeing, and I'm always on Instagram and looking at people's work, and I've seen this interesting shift, right? And I'd love to hear your perspective on it. But I'm seeing a lot of artists attempt to do great tattoos for the moment, right? They're not putting into all these techniques about needle depth and how to get this tattoo to live forever. And I call it the 5-year truth, right? And I'm seeing some of their habits. I'm watching their shading techniques. And I mean, look, I'm 28 years in the tattoo industry. I've seen my tattoos come back. Most recently, I had a guy come in 23, 24 years ago. I tattooed him. It was still in there because I was doing primarily single needle work, which gets in the skin. But I'm seeing so many artists gravitate to these bad habits of tattooing. They're just skimming the skin, and it ends up looking really good for a couple weeks, maybe a year, but then it just disappears. What's your perspective on this new process that people think that they've invented, but it has no longevity to it?
Is really amazed me because let's say 20 years ago, if you were getting a tattoo and then it was fade away, as a customer, you were getting very angry. Now it seems that even the customer accept this.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is so, sorry if I say, but it's so fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's such a lie that even the customer, they accept that the tattoo they have is not the real one. I know there was a tattooer in Italy that was doing a lot of Photoshop and everything on his work, and he's kind of famous. Even if I don't judge him very good and everything, he have 1,000, 100,000 followers, etc., etc. And in a tattoo convention, there was a customer of him. And this is a story the tattooer told me. Basically, he went to the customer and asked to see the actual tattoo. And the customer take out his iPhone and show the photo of the tattoo. And the guy say, no, I know the photo. I want to see real. And the customer refused to show it real. He said, no, look at this. This is what it is. I mean, it's out of the mind that this lie is just got everybody, even the customer are happy just to post a perfect photo on their social media, and they don't care if it's they or not, because not only for tattooer is the moment, right, to be popular with a tattoo that is not real, but even for the customer.
Yes, I agree. We live in a day and age where people have egos and people are living a vanity sort of driven life. And you're right, the customers just want to know that they have a popular tattoo on their skin. And you know what? For all you tattoo artists tuning in, by no means are we reprimanding, but we are reprimanding that type of lie, the big tattoo lie, we'll call it. Let's call it, Mickey, let's call it the big tattoo lie. This behavior has to stop. Really, we can't build on foundations of inauthenticity. And look, if you're tuning in and you're a young artist, don't try to be famous. I came from an era, Mickey, there's two types of fame. We talked about this earlier. There's two types of fame that I've seen artists seek out through my history of being a tattooer. And for the first half of my career, and I started in about 1994. If you were a tattooer, you were trying to get good to please other tattoo artists. I was trying to get good to please Jack Rudy, Paul Booth. I wanted to take my sleeves that I was doing to the Ink Slingers Ball and show them to my peers who I respected. And if I got their approval, I won. I was a happy camper. And that's really what we should all be doing, right? And the other person that is seeking fame, they're seeking fame for the world. And let me explain what that means. If you're trying to gain followers, right, ask yourself the big question, what kind of followers do you want? Are you trying to get soccer moms? And there's nothing wrong with anyone that follows a good artist. But you as the artist, are you just trying to get numbers stacked up on your Instagram so that you appear to be famous? What does that really mean? Because if you're trying to get anyone to follow you, that means you're part of that second group of vanity fame. I challenge every artist to try to get famous and have the most amount of tattoo artists follow you. And then you break that up and the most amount of respected tattoo artists following you. That's how you really win. And I think that if you direct your attention on tattooing the right way, other tattoo artists, like you said, Mickey, earlier, we can spot the bullshit. Maybe the customer can't spot the bullshit. Maybe the couple 100,000 followers of people that don't tattoo, they can't spot the bullshit. But we see the lie clearly. So again, there's those two types of fame. Like, what type of famous tattoo artist are you guys trying to be? Are you trying to be for the artist, or are you trying to be for the world? And I got news for you. you won't have a lot of followers if you put your head down and do it. I mean, I'm not going to name names, Miki, but we've talked about artists. I think I'm probably one of them, right? But like artists that have been tattooing for a long time that have earned some amount of respect in the industry, but they don't have hundreds of thousands of followers, right? And I think it's because a lot of times they put on a show. Some of these artists that have hundreds of thousands, not all of them, but some of them, they put on a show. And the show is Photoshop, the show is pizzazz, the show is filters, whatever it may be. And I've always noticed when I look at some of my personal favorite tattoo artists, I'm like, okay, that's a real tattoo post. That's not photoshopped. And I look at their followers, and I'm like, yeah, you're an authentic tattoo artist, and you're the real deal. And unfortunately, Miki, we live in a world where people want lies. People want to be fooled, right? But I challenge everyone, just really ask yourself, what type of artist are you striving to be? Because we get a lot of young artists tuning in, Miki, on these interviews. And I think part of my favorite thing to share with the audience, especially the younger audience, is really these types of conversations that are challenging. I kind of want people to leave this interview feeling challenged, questioning who they are as an artist, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? If you're going down a wrong road of inauthenticity, that's fine, but after today's episode, you're going to be challenged because you now will know the truth. But let's talk a little bit about what type of advice, Miki, you've been around the greats. You've been around every great tattoo artist, ones that have passed on. You've seen great artists at a time when they weren't great artists. You've seen people develop. What advice do you have for all the young tattoo artists tuning in?
The first advice is to draw. To draw, because you can even arrive as good as you want in technique. I mean, I've been talking also a lot with Marco. Marco, is an amazing artist.
We love Marco.
But all the time, if he needed to take a step up, he needs to spend a lot of time drawing.
Yes.
This is the only way you can take a step after another one. If you think that the only thing you do is tattooing and this is enough to become a good tattooer, no, it's not like this. You have to draw every single day, every day. Like a guitarist will do scale every day, not just in the beginning. Every day will continue to do different scale and everything. Like a tattooer has to draw the whole time.
Yeah.
Second thing is like to remember that tattooing is something unique. So don't continue to copy all the time other people's work. Try to put, once you learn it, because of course, instead of doing, if you're not able to draw a dragon, instead of doing a bad dragon, maybe it's better you open a book and you copy a Japanese dragon. At least you know it will be a good tattoo. So first of all is try to do a good tattoo. But once you learn how to do a good thing, try to express yourself and don't continue to copy other people. And then the last thing is very weird in these days. People don't even start tattooing and already thinking like, what kind of style I will do when I will be a tattooer. Mm-hmm. Like right now, they're already thinking like, they're not even starting to buy a tattoo machine. They want to become a tattooer and they start, I will be a realistic tattooer, or I will be a new traditional tattooer. I will be a Japanese tattooer. No, you have to be a tattooer. You gotta do everything.
I love it.
Then, of course, once you have enough customer, then you can choose what you want to propose more and so on and so on. But you gotta do everything.
I'm glad you said that because, again, it goes back to the two types of tattoo artists. Like when you're getting into the tattoo world as a new tattoo artist, and what you just said, Miki, as far as doing it all. Like when I first started, I was doing, back when I first started, like my primary style was Chicano style. That was before it even had a name. I was tattooing gangsters from Southern California, and it was Chicano style. But as I started working in tattoo shops, I would take color, I would take traditional, I would take tribal, and often I worked in tattoo studios where you couldn't say no to any piece. I wanted to know everything about it. I wanted to know the feeling of doing a Japanese tattoo sleeve, the feeling of doing tribal, because that's the type of tattoo artist I was. I was in love with the spirit of tattooing. And I think the other part of the tattoo world, the other style of artist is the one, like you said, he comes into he comes into the industry and he chooses what he thinks he's going to do. Well, that's almost disrespectful because you're not honoring the tattoo spirit. It's got so much to offer. It's got so much to give. And I feel like when people first start tattooing, they should start trying all the different styles. And what you just said earlier is the truth. Is everyone has a personality, right? Everyone has a personality. Cartoon, one of my favorite artists. I know him. He's my friend. His personality comes through his tattoos. Jack Rudy, same thing. His personality comes through his tattoos. Shige, same thing. Paul Booth, same thing. Carlos Torres, same thing. So everyone has a character inside their spirit. Everyone has a character inside their soul. And I think what happens is they block that character off because, remember, we live in an unauthentic world nowadays full of lies. So people choose their character. I want to be like cartoon because that looks cool.
Yeah,
I want to be a realistic artist because that gives a lot of likes. I challenge you guys, find out your character. Let it come through your art. And again, like Mick said earlier, if you think you want to do dragons and you're not sure how, copy one just to get the familiarity of it. But then I urge you to express who you are and let it come through your tattoos. And that's how people find their style. So I would just, implore you guys to really tap in deep if you're trying to figure out, because it's normal to not know where you want to go in this tattoo industry if you're new, right? Like it's so confusing, right? It's like a kid in the candy store. It's like, do I become a realistic tattoo artist? Do I become a traditional? It's all fun, right? It's all flavor. It's like being at a buffet, right? What do I eat? It all looks good. But in order to be successful, I truly believe that whatever style you land on, it has to come within. And I feel that there is a style that everybody will gravitate to.
Yeah, and especially if you have a chance to work in a studio with different artists, and even if an artist is doing something that is not your own style, talk with him, share your knowledge with him, try to understand what he's doing and why he's doing, because unfortunately, Franco, 20 years ago, it was so rare to find good people where you could share your knowledge.
Yeah.
Now it's much easier. But you know what I realized, having also a tattoo studio and everything, that many times I see young artists that are over there work, they just finish their tattoo, they pack and leave.
Yeah.
They don't even share too much with colleagues. They don't really talk with other people, especially if they are not doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like if a guy is very good in doing Chicano and I think this is really bad because they miss good chances, not only because for what they can learn, but for the experience they can share. Tattooing is such a magic word, and it's such a pity that a lot of people don't get every single pieces they can get out of it.
I truly believe in that too, and it's a standard rule that I've come to know is truth. And you get in what you put in, and that goes for if you become one of the artists that shares knowledge with your colleagues. You become a better artist inadvertently because of that, and that's just the truth of it, right? And so, like, it's a different world we're living in, and it's sometimes, Mickey, I have a hard time navigating where we're at right now because I feel like people are missing so much of the knowledge and the culture and the truth of what tattooing is. It's almost like it's spinning out of control sometimes, and I personally feel like I have a great obligation to deliver these truths through friends like you. So thank you so much for everything that we're talking about. Let's go a little bit deeper here. Everyone, Mickey, everyone is wondering, what is up your sleeves? Do you have any conventions in the works? Any kind of projects you're working on that you want to talk about?
Well, yeah, I have about convention for sure. I will do something else in the future. I got a few offers already. I'm thinking, etc., etc. The only problem right now is what I just told you before, because doing if I'm gonna do something, I will do something very interesting. That means something that need a big organization, a very big, a lot of time and everything. And right now with the COVID, I can still really plan it.
Yeah.
I can't really plan it because, to be honest, nobody know what is going to happen. We all thinking, okay, in September we will be over, we will be free, but it's not really like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not. If I would like to make a convention with I don't know 200 artists, it's just question of. It's very easy, but it's not what I'm interested. I always wanted to do something special in a special place, also because the place is very important. And so for sure, I will be back as a tattoo convention organizer. But doing the convention I was doing, I needed over a year time to organize it.
Yeah, yeah.
And right now, I can't plan what is going to happen in 1 year.
Yeah,
It's impossible to plan it. So right now, I put all my energy. I'm doing, as I said, as a tattoo promoter, I'm trying to push more and more my blog, where I try to give the culture, because basically, a lot of artists, what they told me when I stopped London, is say, fuck, we miss it. London, it was the only thing that could say, okay, if you enter London, you arrive to the god of tattooers.
Yes, yes.
Why? Because there was a big selection. Because I didn't never care how many followers a tattooer had. I mean, I got email of tattooer really angry because they say, "Hey, what's up? What's wrong with me? I have over 600,000 followers and I'm not allowed to come in London." And I said, "Yes." And I took people with 3,000 followers, but because for me, we're more interesting than somebody that was only using Photoshop and was. Total bullshit.
Yeah,
that means that I try to use the same integrity, the same energy and everything for the other thing I'm doing, that is the tattoolife.com blog, and now I'm doing different books. I changed my way of doing books since I started with the Philip one. That has been so difficult because I studied with him almost 2 years before coming out with that book. Then I did a one with Paul Dobleman, and now I just released another one with Ching. Yeah. So what I'm trying to do right now, that convention is kind of closed for the moment, to give the same energy, the same integrity, and the same thing with all the other media that I can have.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about the books and Media Friends and Tattoo Life magazine. I want to just talk a little bit about what that means to me. So like I said, I've been tattooing for quite a bit now. It's almost 27-ish years, 28 years. I grew up with collecting tattoo magazines. That was my Instagram. That was my MySpace. That was my Facebook. Collecting tattoo, Skin Art magazine, you name it, all of them. I would go to the stores just like every other tattoo artist, and just hang out in the aisles at Barnes & Noble and looking at all the tattoo magazines and seeing who's who and checking out new people. You were one of the originators of that type of media with your magazines and stuff. And I'm always encouraging people to buy more tattoo books, buy more tattoo magazines, because that's kind of a dying breed. And I feel like that's where artists can learn a lot. So like if you're a young artist out there, I would encourage you to check out Miki's book selection that he's produced, and his magazines that he has, and check out his blog, because this is all good information that you're putting out there. A lot of people put out information just to fill pages, right? But the Miki Vialetto, I know he doesn't have that bone in his body. He has to put content that has substance, whether it be a blog, a magazine, or a book. So guys, a quick shortcut to learning a lot about the tattoo industry is buy some of these books, check them out, check out his blog, subscribe to it, check out his magazine, subscribe to it. We can't let magazines die, Miki. How could we save them? What can we do?
Well, luckily, there's still a lot of people that still believe in the culture, because this is the problem. Before, like in everything, like about you can talk about magazine, music magazine, or about anything. The people that were writing magazine were people that knew about the culture and they like it to share it. Nowadays, that everything is on social media, people doesn't publish what is good, but they publish what is what make more likes.
Yes.
Like I give you, for example, is always the same thing. If I publish a beautiful back piece, Japanese back piece on everything, maybe I have, I don't know, 2,000 like. If I publish a hand totally black or a face half black, I would have 7,000 like. Or if I publish a tattoo full of fake color, very shiny and everything, you get more likes. But this is not what I'm trying to teach. But unfortunately now there are so many pages that they say the best tattooing, the best this and that, and the people that running them, they don't know nothing
at all.
They just try to get the one with more that they think they're gonna have the more audience. Same thing. I mean, I see so many tattoo pages that basically they just show or girl with ugly tattoos or man with ugly tattoos. They really, if you look through social media, if you're new to this world, can you understand something? Not really, because you could if you know exactly what to go to find. But if you are new, you don't know that if you follow Jack Rudy, you will follow a master in black and gray. You don't know that if you follow Mr. Cartoon, you will have a master of that. Or if you follow Shig, or if you follow... No, you just thinking to follow the one that has the more follower because you think are the best. But it's not like this.
And another thing about that is people start to fall in love with that falsehood. They fall in love with that sort of lie, right? And it's like, look, it's like watching a movie and thinking it's real. You know, at some point you have to snap out of it and realize that it's not real. And if you guys are out there, young tattooers, I'd encourage you to follow all the masters, the Shiges, the Jack Rudys, the Paul Booths, old school guys like Scott Sylvia. You know, I mean, these are the ones to follow, right? These are the ones to follow. And maybe at some point James will put out a list of people that are follow worthy. And it's I think, Mick, that likes have become like junk food nowadays, right? Everybody's after the junk food. Everybody's after as many likes as they can get, and they don't care about anything else. And there's no future in that, right? And I feel that at some point, as popular as tattooing has become, and I remember my father in the tattoo world, Compton David Oropeza, he told me once, and he's another visionary. He said, Franco, one day there's going to be so many Chuy Quintanares. There are going to be so many cartoons. There's going to be so many greats. There's going to be so much talent, is what he was basically saying. There's going to be so much realism out there. He goes, to the point where no one's going to care anymore, right?
No, exactly. Excellent. It became mediocrity.
Yes, but for those that dare to think different, there is authentic artists out there worth following and appreciating, right? And I think that where we're headed in the tattoo industry is, like you said earlier, you could no longer just attempt to become a good tattoo artist. If you really want to make it in the future of tattooing, you have to invent a style. And I still think there's room for styles to be invented, styles to be, because like Tim Hendricks said once, is everyone borrows style from somebody. There's nothing new under the sun. There's no there is no I invented this particular style. What it is people take the style that already existed and they express their personality through it. and that gives it its own style. It's like a math game. At the end of the day, it's like you can have there's only there's 1 through 10. There's only 9 digits in a number, but yet there's billions and trillions of different numerics. There's only a few different styles, but if you dare to be different, there's thousands and thousands of styles that are yet to be created. And if people keep going down this road of copying everybody, you're doing everyone a disservice, because I personally want to see some new styles coming out, right? Don't you, Mickey? I want to see some new styles.
When I was checking again for London, it was many times it was so boring, especially, I'm sorry to say, but realistic people or black and gray. They were every profile, everything good, but exactly the same subject, the same clock, the same tiger, the same characters over and over and over and over. I could take 20 different Instagram profiles and they were all the same.
Yeah.
Like, so boring. And there are so many ways to express yourself.
Yeah. And Mickey, I'm just to kind of touch base on Media Friends and Tattoo Life, and I'm looking forward to doing more with you. I want to start connecting more closer to you in advertising and different things. So I would encourage everyone out there, if you're looking to advertise with someone special, hit up Miki Vialetto. If you're looking to purchase books, and if you're looking to subscribe to his blog or to his magazines, do yourself that favor. Mickey, how can people find you? What is...
Just if they go tattoolife.com,
okay.
From there they can find anything.
Tattoolife.com. You guys should really check that out. Tattoolife.com. Check out the books. Check out the blog. Subscribe to the magazine Tattoo Life. It's an awesome magazine, and probably one of the few that Bishop even advertises with, just because we believe in it. And we're kind of getting close, Mick.
Yeah.
Let's get some questions. Thank you guys for tuning in and asking questions. Mick, we had such a great conversation. Let's see what some of the questions are from the audience. Let's do some questions.
Mickey, thank you for everything that you've done with the London Tattoo Convention. For most of us, we see that's the Super Bowl of the tattoo industry. You had nothing but the most heavy hitters in the entire culture come together and showcase. We've got a couple questions about some artists wanting to know, how would you want to break into the larger tattoo conventions if you worked more locally throughout your career? How do you break into that?
Well, he can just send an email with his work, with his Instagram profile and everything. And usually, if the organizer has a good taste and he wants to do something special, not just taking out the money of tattooer, he will just look at his work. And if he found interesting enough, it will be in. Doesn't matter if he has a big name or not. He's close to a big name. There were all the time in London people that nobody heard before. But this was the interesting thing of London, to find good and new tattoo artists. So don't worry if you are not well known. It's just your work that speaks for yourself.
And I'll touch on that answer too. Again, that goes into creating your own style, because what Mick is basically saying here is, he doesn't care if you have 3,000 followers or 100,000 followers. He's looking for two types of people: people that are well known already in the authentic way, or people that are not well known, but Mickey sees potential in. And the way he's going to see that potential is if you're doing a style that's of your own, and he sees that that's different, and he sees that could go somewhere. I remember back in the days when I was trying to find my style, I did biomechanical and Chicano work, and I had a 1-year period, Mickey, where I was doing what I call Bio-Mexican. It never took off, right? But I did a couple of sleeves and leg pieces, and I had this I combined Chicano and biomechanical together. But I'm just saying that over your years of tattooing, try everything, let yourself express through, and if it sticks, and we'll see it. Mickey will see it.
Let me see. I've got a question from Ivan Rossi. In order to be able to tattoo all kinds of styles, do you feel it's 100% necessary to have an apprenticeship, or should he focus in one style and really hone in his craft in that way?
Well, I'm sure if he gets an apprentice, is the best way, because especially if you go to somebody that is good, he can learn from him and from all the other ones. So apprenticeship is always the best way to improve your work. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think I'll add to that too. Is I feel, this is just my opinion, is I feel that there's two types of apprenticeships: the right way and the wrong way, right? And a lot of apprenticeships right now that I've seen personally are done the wrong way. And I'm not saying that there's a rule book, but I did come from the old school, and I saw what works. I saw what got respected, and what I see working is when you apprentice somebody, you actually throw them through the ringer, right? Like, not only are they mopping the floors, right, and everything's done with respect, of course, right, but they're mopping the floors. You're teaching them how to solder needles, even though we don't have to do that anymore. They're taking on the tribal tattoos or the smaller tattoos. So a real apprenticeship, you run them through the whole course of what tattooing is. And nowadays I see a lot of people just going, okay, you want to learn how to tattoo, pay me some money, I'll teach you how to do my Chicano style, or I'll teach you how to do my realistic style. And you're not really getting the full tattoo spirit. And so, whether it be right or wrong, it really boils down to what type of tattooist you want to become. But I think that if you've been listening to this show today and you want to become a respected tattoo artist amongst your peers, there's really only one way to go with that. Let's get into it. I got one more question for Miki.
Can I add a small thing, Franco?
Yes.
Can I add just one more thing? Another thing is get tattooed, because nowadays so many tattooer are not heavily tattooed.
Yes.
So if you want to learn, go to somebody you really admire, get tattooed, look what he's doing. Don't, if you need to ask questions, ask with respect. Don't think that they will tell you everything straight away. But get tattooed and look what they're doing.
Exactly, and that's a great way to learn. Miki, I want to just say thank you also for all the years of supporting Bishop. I remember, when we first started, we went to the Milano convention, and you let us set up shop, and I did thank you for believing in Rotaries at a time when they weren't popular.
You've always been a great visionary, bro, and you always did. This is the thing. It's like you always did with your heart and with your full belief. This is why I always supported you, because your heart was, you wanted to give the best you thought it was for tattooer. That was always your philosophy. This is why I always supported you, and I will always support you.
Thank you, and likewise, I think the old saying, "It takes one to know one," comes to mind, because I think that's why I've appreciated you so much too, as a dear friend and just somebody special to me in the tattoo industry. There's very few people to me that are special in the industry. Jack Rudy being one of them, Good Time Charlie being one of them, David Oropeza, and of course you, Miki. Very special to me. I'm lucky to be your friend. And again, I thank you for all the years that you've supported us. I look forward to the future of tattooing, Franco. And you already know that you have our support fully in anything and everything you need. James, is there anything else you'd like to say? We have about 2 or 3 more minutes, Miki.
Well, just to all the tattooer out there, focus on yourself. Don't really get into social media. It's a great tool, social media, but focus and invest on yourself, and think that what you have today doesn't mean you will have forever. So even try to capitalize what you can get today.
Exactly. Again, thank you so much, Miki. I really appreciate spending some time with you. We don't do it enough.
Thank you so much, Franco.
And if the future has it for us, we'll end up in Mako's pool again one day in Monopoly, swimming, eating olives, and talking about tattoos.
I love it.
Yes, thank you so much, Miki. And James, I'll pass it to you.
Well, again, Miki, thank you again for your time. Franco, thank you.
Thank you very much, James.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see you again, sir.
Same here.
And to you all at home, thank you for tuning in to another wonderful episode of Fridays with Franco out here at Vatican Studios. We do have a lot of fun things happening these days, so be sure to sign up on our SMS list. For the U.S., text Bishop VIP to 29071. And international +1 973 547 1071. So again, you guys, thanks again for tuning in. Hope you all have a beautiful weekend. Stay up, stay positive, stay focused. always continue to love. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy, and remember, if nobody loves you, Bishop's got you.
And Chuco.
And Chuco, we out.
Love you, Mickey. Have a great
Love you too, guys.
great evening. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.